Hi, I'm Jared Rosenblitt from Toronto, Canada, and I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, or Whovian as some other people like to call it.
Interesting.
I hope. Anyway, this is the Doctor Who, or I should say the TARDIS, not Doctor Who's TARDIS, but it's the from Series 9, the latest series that was released, I think, this year, and it was a one-year project, and it started. It's a funny story how it started. I know somebody, I'm sure many people know him. His name is Thornston. Goes by the name of Zeno Murphy online. And he's a really cool guy, and he built a TARDIS a few years ago, and it really inspired me to build my own. So this year, once they released promo images and I watched Doctor Who Series 9, I just thought, you know what, I have to build a TARDIS. And so it just kind of came together. And yeah.
So very cool build. I always am just amazed at the amount of things kind of like happening in a build like this. There's a lot of components. There's like a lot of narrative attached to it. Where do you start when you sit down to tackle something like this? Do you sort of write out what you're gonna try and incorporate, or just sort of go for it?
I'm really odd in that sense because I just start picking up pieces and putting them together. And if it looks good, I'll continue. If it looks bad, I'll just kind of like shove it into a drawer and forget about it for years and on end until I need that certain piece, down the road. And I'm like, oh right, I use it in this build. But for stuff like this, it's usually I don't do a design board. This is an exception though, because this one I actually drew out the plans on paper first because I had to budget it and everything. But from that, it just kind of transformed, and then if I got stuck somewhere, I just would go back to the drawing board and try out alternative parts, and eventually came together as it is now.
Very cool. Now, if you were to sit down and work on a project like this again, a similar build, what would you do differently?
Again?
Would there not be an again?
Hard to say. This took a year, and a lot of hair was lost from the hair pulling and the anger and the frustration of it not working correctly. But anyway, what was the question again?
What was the question? Well, what would you do differently?
What would I do differently? Truthfully, I can't really say. This is actually, usually I'm not happy when I'm finished a build because there's always one part that I find where I just don't like what happened and I wish I could have done it differently. This one I'm probably like 99.9999999 etc% satisfied with. It actually came out pretty close to my expectations, so woohoo. One for however many builds I've done.
Very good, Jared. You're a very talented builder. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.